Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coming to you live from the most powerful city in the world is the boss BJ,
What's
the big
up?
the big guy KG. We are two of your sideline junkies, and we are here with the DC Sports Rundown. Got a lot to get into tonight, and we pulling double duty. So right directly after this, we going into the Tuesday night flight over on Podbean. So make sure you join us on that. Uh First and foremost, we got to hit the big news because it affects Washington. Emails revealed. Whoo boy. Bruce Allen's emails with John Gruden were revealed last week. And in those emails, he made disparaging racial comments about Demore Smith, saying his lips were like Goodyear tires,
Michelin tires.
Michelin tires. I'm sorry. And then he came out and he said disparaging comments about Roger Goodell. He called him a homophobic slur. He put down female referees and their rise. Said back in, I think that was 2014, that Jeff Fisher shouldn't have been pressured into drafting Michael Sam. Um, then
And not in
also,
those words.
no, not in those words. I'm not going to use the words because I don't want any backlash for this show because we're going on 4 years strong, and I'm not trying to do nothing to derail that train. So, and sensitivity. So, he also said that he quote unquote offered up uh oral sex. Well, not he offered. He told I think his name is Brian Glazer, the owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, basically to give him oral. And Bruce Allen responded with he'd probably be up for it. A lot has came out. Bruce Allen. Now think about this. Everybody else, and it wasn't just Gruden and Bruce Allen. It was Gruden, Bruce Allen. Uh, Also was the founder of Hooters and a couple of other big wigs were in this email chain. I think it's like 1,100 emails over a course of 5-6 years. Gruden has stepped down. Bruce Allen may never work in the NFL again. He is NFL. Well, he was NFL royalty. But this is from the investigation into the misconduct that was here in DC with the Washington football team. B, let's jump into your thoughts. What do you think about the whole thing, man?
So we're gonna stick to right here, DC Sports Rundown live. We're gonna stick to specifically the Washington football team. And just starting from the top, it's no way in four hills that, and we don't have the emails on our hand, we can't see anything, but there's no way in four hills you can't tell me that the owner of this Washington football team, Dan Snyder, doesn't have any knowledge of what was going on between his right hand man. Right hand man. They were peanut butter and jelly. Okay. So, and I know it takes proof, but you can't tell me with a straight face that the owner. Now, if it was the Phil's groundman or one of the security guards, I could believe it a little bit more. But when it's your right hand man, somebody that reports directly to you, right under you, we all know how hands-on Dan Snyder has been, is. So this isn't surprising. And as a black male, it's not surprising. Um, John Gruden coached after they unearthed the comments about um, Smith's lips. He coached his game. He coached that game. The outrage came when the homophobic slurs appeared. And these comments come all the way up to 2018. Comments about Barack Obama and other things. So um it seems like the Washington football team, every time they dig themselves out of a hole, they jump into a deeper hole. Because now it's not even about football now. It's bigger fish to fry. And you still have, and this is from something KG reminded me of earlier, you still have the women that were cheerleaders that still haven't got justice for the things that happened to them. So it's like a big, huge. Go ahead.
You got to give credit to the Midnight Rider Ben. You got to give him the credit for that because he brung
Okay,
that up, and he wrote an open letter. If you go back on our Sideline Junkies page, it's shared there, and it's also in the Sideline Junkies group. Ben's open letter to the NFL, which was spot on. So please check that out.
absolutely, absolutely. It's just so much going on, and the thing is, yeah, and Goodell. But I don't know if anybody's familiar, and I'm gonna step off to left field for a second. Dave Chappelle's comedy special is like everything he said was spot on. Everything he said was spot on because there was no outrage when he made the first remarks that came out about uh DeMaurice Smith. Wasn't really no outrage. They came out. I expected, as a black man, like always, I expected an apology. It's not a racist bone in my body. I expected people to come out and support him. Oh, he's not like that. That's not the type of person he is. And they did. They came out before these other comments came out. So now where do you stand? You put yourself out there on the ledge. You jumped off the ledge. You went to bat for this man. The people that did. Now where do you stand at? Where you stand at now? Because obviously he is like that. He's been like that forever. That you just don't pop up like this. Okay. The other thing that worries me is that this is only going to hide more things because these people were dumb enough to use their NFL emails with Bruce Allen. I don't know who else used their NFL email, but this is public record. This is a public company. That's just like you using your work email to share things you're not supposed to share and expect it to, it might stay under wraps for a long time until something tripped the alarm. And it might not be you. It may not be you. They have systems now where it's not even humans combing through these emails and these videos. Hell, YouTube has it where if you're playing something that's copyrighted, it can tell and nobody has to review it. They have a machine or whatever they have, a computer that can tell what you're playing, and if it's a copyrighted piece of music, you're coming down quick. And the same thing goes for these emails and everything else. So it's a sad state, but I just think that this is what the NFL is, unfortunately. Colin Kaepernick, Eric Reed proved it. They got the ultimate blackball. And us on this show, we've been talking about Kaepernick all the time. And, it's just everything that comes out proves what we were saying.
You know something, B. One thing that and Midnight Rider not a problem because what you say, it was late last night. I was up, I couldn't sleep, and I read it. I didn't comment, but I immediately read it. I loved it, and I had to share it. I got to get that out there because that's exactly the mindset we need to be in. And what Ben said is about the 40 women that were taken advantage of here in DC. We don't have a first ladies of football cheerleading team anymore. We don't have different things that we once had because these emails that were revealed were some were pictures of the cheerleaders topless. That's no good. That's never any good. Never any good. And that whole situation, all this came out because of Bruce Allen leaking emails to the league about the investigation towards Daniel Snyder and misconduct and everything. And next thing you know, boom, we got all of this. So you turned up something else, but they're talking about not reopening the investigation against Daniel Snyder and the Washington football team. But how can you close an investigation when the people that were wronged have not received justice? Those women were taken to Costa Rica, and basically you turn into a gorilla pimp. Either you go and have dinner with this gentleman, or you don't have to worry about coming back home because you're gonna be stuck here. We taking your passport. You held their
and and
passports hostage.
and not even that too, because we all know that that cheerleading, all across the league is a tight knit. It's hard to get into. It's hard to get into. So it's just like anything else. The fear of losing your job, like you said, the passports were held. Hey, you're going to do this without having to say it. We all know what "go have dinner with this guy" means.
Mm-hmm.
So it's disgusting all the way around. It's just, and I just don't want to. I don't want to seem like cold, but it's just not surprising. This is the Shield, well, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the Shield is about. If you disrespect the Shield in their eyes, not you're going down.
Say it again.
And all of this outrage about John Gruden, we got 32 league owners. None of them are black. Okay, we've seen, and we try not to take this show this way, because we go there and be like, that's a whole. When we say it's a whole nother show, that's when we're trying to stop talking about what we're talking about. But you see how they've treated Eric Bieniemy. You got Byron Leftwich in Tampa, offensive coordinator. You got Steve Wilkes. They got dumped because they drafted Josh Rosen, which was an absolute one of the worst top 10 picks in recent memory. He got fired for that, only for them to bring in their franchise quarterback and not give him a chance to um to even reap the benefits of that. They had one season. Um, I mean, it's countless people that are, this league is what it is. And something I want to touch on. I know we know we time strapped, and we trying to stop rambling, y'all. So just bear with us. But I think it's ultimately disrespectful to the Rooney Rule also. Now, the Rooney Rule was created to give minorities, not just black people, a chance, a shot at being an NFL head coach, but because it wasn't happening. The interviews just wasn't even happening. You had qualified candidates: Dennis Smith, Marvin Lewis, and I know I'm missing names. Okay, and I actually starting to think now that these teams are paying some of these black assistants, black coaches under the table just to get the interview out the way. Just think a couple years ago, and Gary said this the best. Dallas had no intentions, not even a 0.1% of hiring Marvin Lewis. They needed him to do the interview so they could hire who they want to hire. They had no intention of hiring Marvin Lewis. And if you look back at the interviews that's happened over the last couple of years, I cringe because I say it's no chance in hell they're hiring this guy. But you try to be optimistic as that man going into that interview and saying, "Hey man, I might have a shot. I can really show him my football knowledge." And in the back of their mind, they don't care what you know. They just need you to come in here, razzle dazzle you, give you a good big steak, medium rare, baked potato, glass of wine, and send you on your way so they can hire who they want. I was listening to Sports Talk Radio 980 credit. I forgot who said it. The year the Chargers hired North Turner. Guess who was Guess who Pittsburgh hired? Mike Tomlin. Just think of all the teams that year that was looking for a coach that passed on Mike Tomlin. Just think. Just think of how many, the Jacksonvilles, the Detroits of the world, the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
the Washington football team. Just think of how many teams passed on Mike Tomlin. How many Super Bowls Mike got? Tomlin got two.
No, Mike Tomlin has one. Cowher
He
has the
got
other.
one. Okay. You got Pittsburgh, a very well respected franchise before Tomlin came there,
Mm-hmm.
but he's kept that train going. He's kept that train going. That franchise is well respected. And I said something the other day on a podcast. They got two people that don't fit that Pittsburgh mold, which is Smith Schuster and Claypool. They're a little mouthy to be
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Steelers. And Juju's hurt for the season. Even though I don't really care for Juju, never want to see anybody hurt. But they don't fit that Pittsburgh mold. But Mike Tomlin has kept that team respectable, kept them up there. If you play Pittsburgh, even if they're struggling, you're going to be in a dogfight. You're going up against a well-coached team, a disciplined team. And just think of
Mm-hmm.
how many teams pass that up to go get North Turner, a retread. Just how many retreads are in this league right now coaching?
Think about the team that passed those coaches up. And I know I got to eat crow because I was so happy about the signing because I thought I was getting arena football and Cincinnati coordinator and offensive assistant from Tampa Bay, Jay Gruden. Yeah, I didn't get that guy. But think about how many qualified candidates that were passed up to give him that job. But he got that job because his brother is really, really close with Bruce Allen, and Bruce Allen was the man here. Now, Bruce Allen, Jay Gruden, John Gruden, and Doug Williams all worked in Tampa Bay at the same time.
Starting to come together, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
It's starting to come together a little bit.
Yes, it is.
And we're going to talk, in
And that's
detail.
Tomlin never had a losing season. You're absolutely right.
And that's what I'm saying. He stepped in. They continue to be linebacker you.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh, they lost. I can't think of Ryan Shazier
Mm-hmm.
to that injury, and they just keep finding people. They got Antonio Brown, fastest receiver to 900 receptions, I believe. They don't have him no more. They got Juju. They find Chase Claypool. They find running backs. They got Big Ben working. They always find somebody to replace. They're very good at what they do from top to bottom. That's one of the top tier organizations in the league. If not number one, if not number one,
Because of how they ran. They ran like a
because of how
business,
they
but
ran.
it's a family.
Exactly. And I rambled a little bit, but to go back to the Rooney Rule, I honestly I believe that when the Rooney Rule was created by Mr. Rooney, it was pure. It was for the intent to give people a chance, minorities a chance to coach in this league, to have that opportunity to get an interview. They weren't even getting the damn interviews to coach. And now I think they've made a complete mockery of that rule. It's just it's just in the way to get to where they want to go.
Hmm.
Just think of how when the Rooney Rule went in effect and how many minority candidates have gotten interviewed. What's the percentage of them that got hired? It has to be under 5%.
Yeah.
It
Look at how
has
many
it
times
might be
look how many times Eric Bieniemy been interviewed, and they were talking about, well, if Gruden's out in Oakland, Eric Bieniemy he should be the number one candidate. Somebody said, no, why would he want to go to Oakland and rebuild the team to get fired? He's going to stay right in Kansas City. What do you mean? He's the top assistant. Yeah, because Andy Reid only has 1 to 2 more years. Andy Reid is going to pass the reins off to Eric Bieniemy so he can stop going through that damn carousel.
but it shouldn't be like that. And one, Andy Reid shouldn't have to pass that to Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy should already have a job. Eric
That shouldn't
Bieniemy
have
should already
gone.
have a job. The second, Eric Bieniemy shouldn't be going in the pig pen for scraps because they had to fire John Gruden. And you notice the league took their hands off of it. They let the Raiders do all the dirty work.
Yeah, they gave him the emails and said, well, here's the emails. You do what you like. And then he quote
Yes.
unquote resigned. No, he didn't resign. Say it right. He got fired. He
Yeah,
got
he got
fired on his
fired.
day off at that
Yeah, he got
because all
fired.
NFL teams are off on Mondays. He got
And just
fired on
think
his
of
day off, Craig.
just think of how the NFL brass has been salivating over John Gruden. That's their poster boy, Chucky. Chucky, the face, banana wire split, whatever the hell it is, it don't matter no more because you never hear it again.
That's true.
You
And you
know,
know what? I
all
just had
this,
a deja vu moment. I don't know why, but that was deja vu. Whoo, man.
they are, Ben. And that's what I'm saying. You got retreads of retreads,
Yeah.
sons of coaches that my daddy coached in the league, and that's already getting me a job. Overqualified candidates. And I don't men, women, black, brown, qualified candidates. The retreads are getting, besides Kyle Shanahan, I think Kyle's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Kyle's doing a hell of a job. I think he's a really good coach.
McVay is a legacy too. McVay's doing a hell of a job too.
Yeah,
But those
it's
guys earned it.
exceptions.
Yeah.
Those guys, yeah. And they got passed up right here in DC. They had their hands wrapped around. And Kyle, I understand why, because the organization and Mike had issues. But we'll talk about that later. But
well, we got a Brian Schottenheimer.
Brian Schottenheimer, yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he doesn't is that who?
Wait,
now that was Andy Reid's son that got the drunk
DUI.
driving,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And he got fired. The linebackers coach, he got fired.
That's the only reason why he got fired. That's the only reason why he got fired.
All right, we at that 21-minute mark. We need to break down Sunday's game, but we're going to get more into these emails with John Gruden and his quote-unquote resignation on the Tuesday night flight, which is coming up immediately after this DC Sports Rundown on Podbean. So be on the lookout for the post and a link for that. Now, Sunday, Washington went into FedEx Field and lost 33-22 to the New Orleans Saints. I'm a little PO'd behind that because of the way this defense played. Jameis Winston, 15-30, 279, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Alvin Kamara, 16 carries, 71 yards and a touchdown. Callaway, 4 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara had a TD, 5 receptions, 51 yards. Harris, 1 catch, 72 yards. On the other side, Taylor Heineke, 20 of 41, 248 and 2 picks. Antonio Gibson, 20 carries, 60 yards and 2 TDs. Adam Humphries, 3 catches, 73 yards. DeAndre Carter, 4 catches, 62 yards. Scary Terry, 4 catches, 46 yards. But I wonder how many times he was targeted. Ricky Seals-Jones, 5 catches, 41 yards. This defense, Cole Holcomb had a pick. Deron Payne had a sack. Chase Young had a sack and a fumble, forced fumble. We're going to start. You know what? The glaring issue is the defense. Let's start with the defense.
Okay.
I cannot cover for this dude anymore. Landon Collins, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. I am tired of hearing it was a communication issue on the back end between the safeties. Every week.
Multiple times in the game. Multiple times in the game.
5 weeks. 3 preseason games plus a month prior to that to get your communication together.
Yep.
It's no way in 5 hills you should have communication issues now. And everybody's saying, well, it's scheme. No, it's not scheme. The plays are being called. They don't know what they're supposed to be. That's somebody not paying attention to the film study. How do you let a burner get behind you? You playing free safety. You're pre-snap read. How do you let a burner get behind you? And this is coming from somebody that played the position. You don't let, as free safety, you let nobody get deeper than you. If he run in the end zone, you running with him. He run up the tunnel, you running with him. This defense, the defensive line played a lot better. A lot of pressure, things like that, but guys got upfield too much. You got to, defensively, with these linebackers, Jamin Davis didn't play very much. Pro Football Focus rated him very, very low. Like he has 100% completion percentage on him when he's in coverage. He has a missed tackle rate of I think it was 35%. He misses a lot of tackles. I don't know if it's technique, out of place. What is it? But he has to step the hell up. B, take it over before I say something that I ain't got no business.
We're gonna dive into it because we got about 10 minutes left on here, and that's what I was about to say, man. You can't rate him off 13 snaps, and he's a rookie, and that's gonna bring me to my
No,
other
no,
point.
no. That was his rating for the season so far. That wasn't just one game. That was his rating for the season.
Well, he got 13 snaps in that game. You're not gonna learn as a rookie with 13 snaps. If they want him to get better, you drafted this boy in the first round. This ain't a seventh round pick. This ain't Mr. Irrelevant. This is somebody that needs to play to learn, right? So, and I got to disagree with you before I get to Taylor Heineke and the offense. There is something wrong top to bottom from Jack Del Rio all the way down to the players. The defensive assistants, because you said people don't know where they're supposed to be after 8 weeks of football. So I think at this point, we have to stop blaming Landon Collins and put the blame on the Jack Del Rio and the defensive coordinators, because we saw last year. We saw enough last year that Landon Collins is not good in coverage. So okay, if you know somebody's not good in coverage, why do you keep putting them in situations that they have to keep covering? Why do you put them in situations where they're the main safety over top? It's mind blowing. Okay, if Landon Collins is stronger in the box, then why not come out in more nickel and put him in? You can put him in the nickel slot and make him blitz from there. And I ain't saying cover. I'm saying blitz from the nickel spot, or you could put him in one of the linebacker spots. You have your three corners on the field, make him a linebacker. You got two linebackers in your nickel, right? Make him one of the linebackers. Make him cover underneath. Why isn't Kent Curl playing more? One of the things before I get to what a big point I want to make about the Washington football team, and I just lost my train of thought completely. Brian yelled it, and I just lost my train of thought.
That's that 40-year-old man.
It is. So I'm gonna make my big point. Yes, the defense is underperforming. The beginning of the season, we felt like this team could win a division. That was with Ryan Fitzpatrick, a veteran at quarterback, and a defense that we thought should be able to get to the quarterback at will with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, the Alabama boys, and Ioannidis up front. We weren't even talking about the secondary because we thought that front seven should be disruptive enough. You could put sticks back there in the damn secondary. You could have the TV monitors with the player's face that's supposed to be at corner covering these people. Okay? That's nowhere near happening. It's a complete disappointment. And I know what I want to say. Ron Rivera, something scary. He said it says, we're not making no adjustments. I don't understand how that could come out of his mouth when you're having the problems you're having on defense. The offense I'm gonna get to in a second. So, of course, Fitzpatrick gets hurt. Taylor Heineke comes in. He's been working magic. This is he only has 5 starts underneath his belt. Technically, ladies and gentlemen, he is his years in the league doesn't say it. He's still a rookie. This is a rookie quarterback going through growing pains. The throws, the miscues you saw Sunday. Him trying to do too much. That's rookie stuff. That's what you're seeing from Joe Burrow at times. Joe Burrow's lights out, but you see it at him at times, and he's not a rookie. He's going in his second season. Trevor Lawrence he looks like mud down there in Jacksonville. Zach Wilson, garbage. Okay, these are rookie growing pains. So now, when you read the stats off and you said 44 throws for Taylor Heineke, and I shook my head, not because he threw 2 interceptions because he shouldn't be throwing the damn ball 44 times in the game. You're putting everything on his shoulders. You cannot put everything on a guy that as of Sunday has 5 starts underneath his belt. I'm sorry to say, okay, if the defense was doing their part, I think that you would see they're 2-3 right now. You would possibly see a 4-1 team, 4-2. If the defense was living up to their part, this by far is the worst defense in the league right now because they can't stop nothing up front. They can barely get to the quarterback, and the secondary is just absolute garbage. Okay. This is not the team that started the season. A lot of things on offense are being misused. They're not taking advantage of having Antonio Gibson and JD McKissick. They have 2 dogs in the backfield. Okay, they're not taking advantage of that. You see how New Orleans used Kamara? Why isn't Washington doing more of that with Gibson and McKissick? McKissick shows you what he could do the other week.
And then he got very little playing time this week. Let me see. He touched the ball. What? He ran the ball. McKissick ran the ball 2 times for -1 yards.
Amazing.
And he had 1 catch for 8 yards. He touched the ball 3 times. 3 times. And this dude should be in the offense.
At least 15. At least 15.
That's
at
all
least
what
10
I say
to
every
15.
week. And I'm not saying that because I got him in
15.
fantasy, though.
Yeah, at least 10 to 15 for McKissick, 15 plus for Gibson. If they don't get these touches, you're not winning. Period. You could throw to Terry McLaurin all day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're down Sheriff. That's something I want to touch on before we leave too. Because I'm going to say it, and I know it's going to be unpopular opinion. It's just time for him to go. It's time for him to go. We talked about Sheriff and not being able to stay healthy. Franchise tag got the franchise tag. Let him go. Get rid of him. All right. This is channeling my inner John Thompson show. This is channeling my inner Doc Walker. If they ain't on the field, baby, they ain't no good to us. You need people that can play. Okay. You need people, if it's the 3rd string, if it's the 2nd string, if you got to get somebody off the damn street to come in here and play with heart for 60 minutes. Because if you look, it's especially defense in that defense period. I ain't gonna just say the secondary. And I'm not naming any names because it's blame on all 11. This is a lot of lack of effort going on in that field. It's a lot. Like that jump ball. Oh my goodness, that jump ball, nobody jumped. I'd rather you call a pass interference and me rip a guy helmet off trying to get to the ball and have another chance to stop them on the 1 versus giving up a touchdown. What was it? 5 or 6 football team players down there?
Yep.
Ain't no way. There's no way. And that wasn't Michael Thomas that caught that ball? You kidding me? You kidding me?
Here's my thing, and we Keith gave you a little advice. You know, we 40, so you got to write your thoughts down.
Yeah, I do.
We got to get post-it notes. Now, Ben say Heineke's arm scares him. I think Heineke was forcing it too much. Number 1. Number 2,
he was.
Number 2, defensively, yes, it was on all 11. And I heard Chris Baker, former defensive tackle for the Washington football team, with Washington Redskins at the time. He said something. He said maybe coaches are not listening to the guys. You know, I'm more of this kind of guy than this. This is not working to my strengths, coach. And, you know, older coaches are stubborn. Jack Del Rio, older player, older coach, you know, he's a former player, older coach. He's probably stubborn and set in his ways. What you said about Landon Collins, he said the same thing. He said Landon Collins has to be used more like Jamal Adams. Bring him in the box, let him blitz off the edge. And that's what Landon Collins does. He's a box safety. But now Landon Collins in New York, he could cover. He could drop back and cover if he had to. Because he made it look easy against Washington because he picked our quarterbacks off regularly.
everybody Washington plays makes it look easy.
Mm.
You're talking about a dysfunctional franchise for the last 20 years. Most of the last 20 years, besides Gibbs 2.0 and Shanahan. Shanahan had a little bit of reins.
Well, no,
There's
Shanahan
no
was dysfunctional too, because we don't tell the guys the truth.
somewhat,
We just tell them what they need to know.
yeah, somewhat. He had his ways, but definitely he's not below Jay Gruden. He's not below Jim Zorn.
No,
Okay. Um, it, there's no leaders on this defense. And Chase Young is too young to take that role, even though it by default it falls on him. There's nobody to get in somebody's face. Like after Landon Collins, somebody should be in his face. It can't be Landon Collins. If
because he
Landon Collins, if Landon Collins coming to the sideline trying to pump the guys up, they're gonna look at him like he lost his eyeballs. They're like, dude, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? You just let this 2 touchdowns in, blown coverages every week. I know you're not trying to give a pep talk on it. They have nobody on that defense. If you go around to the best defenses in the league, they have somebody that can get in your grill if you mess up. And when they do that, it's respected. Like, oh man, okay, got you. It won't happen again. Like Pittsburgh, like the
well,
Rams.
true,
They
because I don't
have
think you want
these
to mess with
people.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, look, Sheriff, look, my thing is for the money he's asking for, I need you to play all 17. I need you to play all 17 games. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He's been a little bit unreliable last couple of years. If I'm the Washington football GM, I'm not giving him that money. I'm trading him. Somebody else in the league can get one of the best guards in the league, one of the best guards ranked by Pro Football Daily, Pro Football Focus, the NFL, NFL Fantasy, your mom, your dad, your grandpappy, best guard in the league. Here you go.
I do it too. I rank him up there too. I see me. I
He
don't want to
is,
get rid
though.
of him.
He is. No,
I
he
don't.
is. He is. But at the same token, you're now looking at a team that obviously is something not there on defense. And guess what? You got 4 really big names on that defensive line. One of them already got a contract. Chase Young is going to get his money unless something diabolical happens. And I hope that's not the case. If Montez Sweat reaches a certain sack total this year, he's going to be looking to get paid. Okay. The other Alabama boy going to be looking to get paid, baby.
And he
It's
coming up
no
this year.
way. It's no way I'm giving. You shouldn't have gave the first Alabama boy money because I would love to know what the rush totals per game against his average yards per team is. Now you can't, but you can let him go. You can find something. You sign and trade. You could do something. What's up, buddy? I'm on a podcast. Yes. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
But it's how much money are you going to waste? You got to think like a GM. You're going to give Sheriff this money. You still got to pay Chase Young in a couple years. You got to pay Montez Sweat. You got to pay the other Alabama boy. You got all this money tied up in Landon Collins. Is Scary Terry still on his rookie contract?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, he is. Yes, he is. You got Curtis Samuel on the other side. He can't stay on the field, so I'm not even gonna worry about him.
Yeah, he getting 10 mil. So
Okay. And you got basically a rookie quarterback, and you're asking Taylor Heineke that's proven to you he can make some throws. He is a gunslinger, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't know what a gunslinger is, if you're too young to understand what a gunslinger is, Brett Favre is a gunslinger. Aaron Rodgers is a gunslinger. Brady in his heyday was a gun. They're willing to take chances. Big Ben Roethlisberger is a gunslinger. They're willing to take chances on throws to give their receivers an opportunity. If that means an interception, hell, that means an interception. I think Big Ben in his heyday was one of the best at putting the ball up there and giving his receiver a chance. Big Ben will have a horrible half, a horrible three quarters, and come out and finish it up, come back, Pittsburgh on top. That's just what Taylor Heineke is. He's a gunslinger. He's a risk taker. You have the receivers. Just look at the throw he made, the Hail Mary that Terry McLaurin adjusted for in Atlanta.
That's
You
true.
have the receiver to throw it up to. If you're gonna throw it up to McLaurin on a prayer, I'm good with that. I'm good because I feel like he's good enough to try to get that ball and good enough that if he can't get that ball, he's not gonna let the DB get that ball. There's a lot of issues right now with this team. Okay. This team is essentially has went from division favorite with a defense that was supposed to perform with a veteran QB that for the most part in his career has done very well to, should I say it? A rebuild. It has went from division favorites to a rebuild. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington football team fans, you have to lower your expectations because it's not it this year. This season's over. This is week going into week 6. The Chiefs, I wouldn't be surprised if they put 50 up next week. As bad as their defense is playing, the Chiefs are probably going to put 50 up on this defense next week because as good as Buffalo played them, they couldn't get to Pat Mahomes. You know why you can't get to Pat Mahomes? Because he gets rid of that ball quick. Now you're having problems up front and in the secondary. Expect a big old L coming in Kansas City coming this week coming up. This is a rebuild. This season's over, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm
And
not.
not because of Taylor Heineke. It's because the bread and butter of this team, which was supposed to be the defense. The defense, we talked about it, KG, in the beginning of the year. This defense is supposed to be top 3 unit just based on the pass rushing alone. They can't stop anybody. They can't stop the run. They can't rush the passer.
Don't
They
forget
can't
about being
cover.
terrible on third down.
They terrible on third down. They can't cover underneath, over top, the sidelines, the middle. They can't do it. It's nothing on this defense that you can say they do this very well. So they're going to have to pass on us. No, they can't stop anything.
And Kansas City is wounded. Kansas City is also a 6.5 point favorite as of today. But we got to wrap this up because we got to do part 2 over on Podbean. So join us over there. This particular show will be available probably tonight. The second half won't be available until probably tomorrow afternoon. So we got to wrap this up. So B is already calling for Brandon Sheriff to be not re-signed after this franchise tag, and Kansas City is going to put up 50. If Kansas City puts up 50 and Washington doesn't put up 51, I'm gonna be disappointed.
No, they put up 30, and it's going to be Taylor Heineke throwing 50 times, which
Yeah,
he shouldn't be doing.
you got to get out of that.
He
Got to get
shouldn't
out
be
of that.
doing it. We already know if you want to beat the Chiefs, you got to keep Mahomes off the field because you damn sure can't get to him. Not with this defense. You're not gonna get to him.
You know something that was
So
said Sunday night?
what's that?
They said, looking at the way Buffalo struggled at first and all of a sudden they went off and took them out. They said this team used to be a super team 2 years ago. You think they're still hungover from their Super Bowl loss? Because they used to be invincible. Now they're just human.
Nah, I think a lot of people, you know how people catch up to the super team and they're not scared. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was Buffalo's measuring stick. And speaking of another gunslinger, Josh Allen, gunslinger. You saw the throws he made the other night. Okay, fitting it. That one to Emmanuel Sanders in the back of the end zone was a beaut. Okay, the gunslinger. Okay, it's what Taylor Heineke is. But we're talking about Josh going into his 4th season.
It's
Taylor
true.
been moved around, bounced this preseason, this team, that team. finally getting a chance here. And it's not just going to come up like that, especially when the Washington football team beat themselves Sunday. New Orleans didn't beat them. They beat themselves Sunday. A touchdown should have never happened to Hail Murray. And yes, Heineke forced some throws. Why is he forcing throws when you got Gibson and McKissick? I would kill him underneath. You're going to have to come up, and I know we got to get out of here. You're going to have to come up, and you're going to have to check Gibson and McKissick. Put both of them in the backfield.
They do it and don't utilize it.
Put both of them in the back, and some of it's Heineke missing them. Remember, he missed McKissick a couple times in the Atlanta game, and he finally found him, and McKissick took it to the house. Okay,
Yep.
But you're talking about a quarterback with 5 starts. He's a rookie. He doesn't have the experience. He's going to miss people. He's going to lock in on 17 on plays. He's a rookie. We're not talking about Fitzpatrick. There's a whole different ball game with Heineke in. Yes, he has the moxie. Yes, he plays with a lot of heart, but that doesn't translate into experience. I gotta disagree with you, man. I wouldn't put his accuracy on Rex Grossman. He just had a bad game. He's being asked to do way too much in that situation. He's basically being asked to win the game for the Washington football team week in and week out. Everything's being put on his shoulders. He did it in the Giants game. He did it in the Falcons game. He's shown you he can do it. He has no help. No help. How is he going to do it by himself? He has no help. The defense damn sure is not helping.
I'm gonna say this, and then we got to go. Taylor Heineke works better when the offense is up tempo. That 4-minute offense, when they rolling like that, he works way better. You got to do that, whether it's coming out and think about this, and I'll let it go. Implement the K-gun offense.
But your coach said they're not making no adjustments. Ron said they're not making no adjustments.
Riverboat Ron keeps his cards close to the vest. He's not going to tell you. Why would I tell you?
But they haven't made any adjustments the last 5 weeks. I believe him.
No, when he said they're not making any adjustments, he's talking about cutting players and firing coaches. That's what he's talking about when he's talking about adjustments.
I hope so.
Run that K-gun offense with Taylor Heineke. Get a little read option in there because the boy's mobile. I guarantee you'll see a better offense.
You hear that, Scott Turner?
KC's defense is worse than Washington. And then here's the thing, Keith.
I don't think so.
If Washington's defense plays like they did Sunday, they're going to wind up making KC defense look like it's top tier. If they play the way they did Sunday, I'm sorry.
Don't forget, Kansas City. And I said, we're going to get out of here. Kansas City's defense, your defense, and not just Kansas City. Just think of all the top tier offenses that's been in the league. That, they scoring in under a minute and a half. Defense got to come back on the field. The defensive numbers are going to look bad. They just ran into a bulldozer in my Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen and that offense.
Say that with a lot.
Not everybody has a quarterback that can hurdle over defenders, can run over a defensive end. You damn sure don't have that in Washington. He mobile, but he ain't running over a defense. That's a whole different ball game. Okay? That's Josh Allen. That's Stephon Diggs, one of the best receivers in the league, one of the best veteran receivers in the league, and Emmanuel Sanders. That's an offense that's jailed. They're going to come to Washington. They're going to get their fixing juice. This is a game where they're going to be like, man, that felt good. That things don't hurt as bad. We put up 65. But we'll see.
We'll see. We got to put a pin in that because we got to jump over to Podbean and we going live. Traditional Tuesday night flight. We'll get into more of the Gruden emails. The Wilder Fury fight. Kyrie not being able to practice or play with the Nets. We'll talk about that too. And Ben Simmons coming back to the 76ers. So stay tuned. Well, jump over to Podbean, or if you're listening to the playback on a recording, just keep listening. That's the boss BJ. I'm the big guy KG. We don't do no overtime because we just did it. And we lying big time today. We doing major overtime. But we are out of here for now.
Peace.